Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I am Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are doing the Washington Commanders 7-round mock draft. Ryan and I, we did a full mock draft of all 256 picks. I think 257 now with the additional Los Angeles Rams compensatory pick. But this video is going to break down only the Washington Commanders picks. But before we do that, be sure to like, subscribe, and also ring the bell to get notified whenever we create new content. We've already done a 3-round mock draft series for the Washington Commanders. Now we're doing 7 rounds, and we have other 3-round to 7-round mock draft series planned leading up to the NFL draft day, the official one. Also, every Monday, we're doing mock draft Monday as well. Go check out Ryan's. It was released this past Monday. It's a doozy. It's going to be a lot of fun. So be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell, get notified when those videos come out. Quickly, just to orient you a little bit to what you're seeing here. Obviously, at the top, you're going to see what round it is. Then the name in bold is going to be the pick that the Commanders selected in our mock draft. We tried to go a little bit of a different route because we've been pretty uniform on Drake May being the number 2. So we try to come up with maybe a little bit different scenario, something that's extremely realistic. And Ryan, I think you have a great point on why we selected Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
And then kind of as you see then, we wanted to include all the picks, some of the names before and after to see who was available and who wasn't, and then also some potential picks on the right. But really kind of as you can tell, we ended up going with Jaden Daniels. This selection has been a little bit more popular, I think, ever since the Cliff Kingsbury hiring as the offensive coordinator. Ryan, why do you like Jaden Daniels a little bit more than Drake May in this offensive setup?
Yeah, I think when you look at Cliff Kingsbury as an offensive mind, a lot of the quarterbacks in his system have been not just like plus athletes, but some of the most athletic guys on the field. And I think when you watch Jaden Daniels at LSU, that is definitely what he is. He is this elite athlete playing quarterback. And he's not only an elite athlete at quarterback, there's much more to his game. He is a great passer at all 3 levels of the field. He does struggle at times to read the middle of the field. There are some games, I think, when he did a really good job of it. And there are other games where I felt like there was definitely some room for improvement over the middle of the field. And frankly, I think you get Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels together, and I think they would be able to kind of recreate a little bit of the success that they had down in Arizona before I think things kind of soured on them a little bit. So I really like the fit. Personally, I have Drake May as quarterback 2, but with the fit here with Jaden Daniels, I do think that there is some reason to believe that the Commanders might like Jaden Daniels more, just given the past history of Cliff Kingsbury and the offense that he runs.
Yeah, I think it's extremely possible. I mean, the Jaden Daniels, the Heisman winner, dude can run and he can sling it, and he's made constant progression every single year that we've seen him. He made even a big leap during his time in Arizona. He made a big leap at the university. No, is it Arizona or Arizona State?
Arizona State.
Arizona State. Sorry. At Arizona State, and then when he moved to LSU, then he made an even bigger jump as well. And he's honestly coming to a receiving room that is, I would say above average, not the best.
Yeah.
But, I mean, led by Terry McLaurin, you got Jahan Dotson in there, Curtis Samuel, De'Ami Brown as well. One of them is going to be a free agent. I think Curtis Samuel's
a free agent. And Logan Thomas is like 35 now.
No, he's not that old. I don't think he's that old. But he is getting up there in age, but still a reliable tight end that you can lean on. They need to improve the offensive line a little bit, that's actually where we're going to go to next here. That's a classic segue. There we go. Going with Jordan Morgan here on the offensive line. This is a guy I think he can do a lot of different things, and this Commanders gave up the second most sacks in the league last year, and so some of that maybe you can put on Sam Howell, but also to this offensive line just sucks and just needs to improve. They only weren't the worst just because the Giants' offensive line was a lot historically bad, second worst season ever. By an offensive lineman, by an offensive line, only behind I think the 1985 Philadelphia Eagles. So something about the NFC East offensive lines left giving up a lot of sacks. We're going with Jordan Morgan here. I think he's a guy that can help out a lot. He can play tackle. He can also kick in the guard, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to compare him to Peter Skoronski. I think play styles are similar. They have the athleticism. Jordan Morgan, I think, has a little bit more of a tackle build, whereas Skoronski was a little bit bulkier. But the big similarity to me is they both have 32.5-inch arms. And in the NFL, there are no starting left tackles, like zero, not a single one, with arms less than 33 inches long. So I know it's only a half inch, but Peter Skoronski was one of the best left tackle prospects last year coming out of college, and even he had to kick into guard because that, to me, frankly, I guess that was just his better position. And the Tennessee Titans were hurting for a solid left tackle, and even Peter Skoronski still kicked into guard. So to me, he's a guard at the next level, but he has really good athleticism. He's going to come in, he's going to fill a role for them from day one and help protect Jaden Daniels or whichever other quarterback they do decide to bring in. But moving on to pick 40 as well, Chop Robinson, a really, really solid athlete. Just, to me, probably the most athletic edge rusher in this class. And he has great bend. I think you look at a lot of his production, and it all comes against weaker competition. When he went up against some of the top teams, the Michigans, the Ohio States of the world, he got shut down pretty consistently. And that, to me, I think is, well, one, coaching, but two, I think you might need to work on his mentality a little bit and just kind of like refinement throughout his game. But if you can crack into what Chop Robinson can do and get him to reach his full potential, you have a top 5 edge rusher in the NFL. He is so freakishly athletic. He plays with good play strength. I just think a lot of the more and more I watch him, I think that it's just more mental with him than anything.
Well, and that's something too. I think then coming from a Falcons fan, I can confidently say guys love playing for Dan Quinn. Guys absolutely love playing for Dan Quinn, and what he has done with defense is what we saw him do with Dallas defense. He had a couple of great years in the Falcons on the defense side of the ball. Obviously, the Legion of Boom and that Seattle defense, that's kind of enough said. And so I think this kind of almost has a luxury pick here and having Chop Robinson fall to them. I think that's an immediate. You haven't addressed the defense yet. I think that's one of it. We want this guy on our team just because of how high the ceiling is. They want to go a couple of different routes. There are some guys I do like Zach Frazier doubling up on the offensive line, but then he can come in, play center, get some start rebuilding that offensive line as a whole. They want to go edge rusher, but go with someone who's maybe going to be a little bit more. I don't want to say guaranteed, just have a little bit more consistency. Go with Chris Braswell, and so to say. That might be the best comparison. I think the best way I could compare that. But also, too, I'm not that smart, so there's probably better ways. But let's move on now to their third round pick. This is where they do end up addressing the center position here, Cedric Van Pran. As I said, they could have gone Zach Frazier in the last round, but here they end up getting the center. It ends up working out. I'm going to imagine guys like Cedric Van Pran and also Zach Frazier and other interior offensive linemen might work their way up the board because there is a big drop off. Kind of really, I was looking at Cedric Van Pran, kind of after him, especially center wise. There's a big drop off here. So I think getting him here, I think it's going to be good value. You've addressed the outside and potentially even some guard position, depending on what you want to do with Jordan Morgan. Here you get a great center from Georgia, really helping out Jaden Daniels. And this is kind of where the team was needing some help offensively, which is going to be this offensive line. They needed to probably upgrade it at the quarterback position and then find an offensive line to protect him. So I think they're doing a good job here as of right now. I think the one thing too, and as we haven't addressed the secondary yet, and that's an area I think that we'll address a bunch here leading up in day 3. But this is more, it seems like kind of the philosophy that we took, that they're going to go offensive heavy overall. And the secondaries, hopefully guys like Emmanuel Forbes, they just keep developing and hoping that they take that year 2 step.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that is one of those things, like I think you look at at least 2 of their last 3, it was Jamin Davis. I forget who they took in the 2022 draft. That was when they got Jahan Dotson, and then it was Emmanuel Forbes. And I do think like they have invested assets into the front or into that defense, and now I think after trading off the 2 edge rushers, they're going to want to spend and invest those assets on the offensive side of the ball, and then to try maybe attempt to replace those edge rushers with guys like Chop Robinson. So let's move on. I think they have one more pick. Yes. And I kind of mentioned at the beginning, Logan Thomas, he's 32, sorry, not 35. But Jaheim Bell did a fantastic job at the Senior Bowl, came in at 244 pounds. He was playing at 226, which was smaller than Johnny Wilson. And came in at 244 at the Senior Bowl and still showed really, really great athleticism. He has good hands. He's a good route runner. He's going to be more of a move tight end and not going to be one that you want to line up really in line that much. He can block, just not a super great one and not a super great blocker. And for me, I think you get another weapon to be a good complement to the weapons that you already have. Help out Jaden Daniels or Drake Magan, whoever they decide to bring in. And I think you just get a really nice pass catching weapon here for this offense.
Yeah. No, I like it. And then you do give him another weapon as well. Logan Thomas, as you mentioned, is getting 32. So he's getting up there in age. Maybe he can go find a diamond in the rough here at the end of the third round. And to everyone who is typing right now, yes, we did this mock draft before that Rams compensatory pick, which this pick is actually going to be 101. And so just hopefully you're in mid-sentence while you're typing all this to say that we got the wrong pick. But we did the mock draft before that was given. I will say, let's move on to the day 3 picks here real quick. This is all defense here, as we talked about, only one defensive picks in their first 5. But I think still go get a guy like DJ Dames, Nelson Caesar there in the 4th and 5th round. I think guys that could still come in and help contribute immediately. And I think, once again, edge rusher is going to be an issue because they traded off Chase Young and Montez Sweat. And then quarterback, once again, as we've already stated as well, they're actually going to double dip here in the 6th round.
Yeah, and to me, I think they spent a lot of the top-end assets on the offense, but overall, I think this draft comes in fairly balanced in terms of offense versus defense, in terms of players that they're adding. I like DJ James. He's, I believe, from Auburn, and he's a bit undersized, similar to Emmanuel Forbes, but I see him playing more in the slot style, like in a slot role, and I do really like the fit there. Nelson Caesar is an edge rusher, an undersized edge rusher who's going to be able to play the weak side for them as well. And again, one thing I have been saying throughout these videos, focus more on the positions in the back end of this draft rather than, I guess, necessarily the names. But just simply because at this point, you're looking for traits, you're looking for players that would fit your system well. And that's really hard to predict, especially the further it gets into the draft. So I definitely think all in all, this would be a really solid draft for the Commanders addressing that quarterback position. We saw there was some hope that Sam Howell was going to be a diamond in the rough for them, being a 5th round pick and all, but that quickly came crashing to a halt in the last few weeks of the season when he decided to just start throwing interception after interception.
And it's to defend Howell a little bit. Sorry to interrupt. Defend him a little bit. I think there's also a lot of stuff that seemed like going on internally as a whole. Because they started off hot, but then seemed like they just seemed like it would just be one mistake, and then it's like the whole team would just stop playing football, and the defense wasn't good enough, and then the offensive line wasn't good enough. So you're putting him in horrible situations. I think he'll have an opportunity and shoot. Maybe he'll be the backup. Maybe they'll do a quarterback competition here. Actually, I take that back. If you're going to take Jaden Daniels 2nd overall. You're moving on from Sam Howell.
Well, but that was another thing. Just to speak to the Washington organization, was I think they were 3-4 when they threw in the towel on the season, and then after they traded Montez Sweat and Chase Young, they went and beat the Patriots in New England. Not that that's saying a whole lot because New England sucked, but then they were a 500 team after that, and I don't think they won a game the rest of the year.
Well, just the defense just wasn't. Yeah, I mean, they gave up close to 90 points to the Cowboys in their 2 matchups. Which Cowboys have one of the top offenses in the league, but it's like just still. Yeah. And so that's where I think addressing the offensive line, restarting at the quarterback position. I think then in the second half of this draft, I think they get good value defensive picks on maybe some guys that they can develop.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap up this 7-round mock draft here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of this Washington Commanders 7-round mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you do differently? Other than that, we will see you guys next time.